about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky.
The Light Room, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
UHealth, University of Miami Health System. World-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Running on empty? Feeling depleted? Health and wellness comes down to one essential factor: energy at the cellular level. Our body is designed to support, repair, recover, and heal, but it needs the right environment. At the Light Room, our energy enhancement system is that right environment, a balanced bioenergetic support for your body's natural processes. Don't wait until your energy is depleted. Recharge and keep optimized. Start today. The Light Room, advanced energy therapies that work. We're in Pasadora Place.
There's nothing more important than your health, and seeking expert healthcare with physicians you can trust is what you deserve. UHealth, the University of Miami Health System, offers peace of mind to you and your family with a first-class experience. Our patient coordinators assist with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. As South Florida's only academic-based health system, UHealth offers cutting-edge treatment, compassionate care, and life-changing results just a flight away. Learn more at umiamihealth.org/international.
Your health is everything, and it's important to have a doctor who cares. Dr. Sidney Ebanks, proud Caymanian, has a big heart for his community, specializing in complex cases, urgent care, and preventative medicine. Dr. Ebanks offers over 20 years of experience. He listens to your needs, your frustrations, and what you're experiencing. He treats more than just the illness. He treats you. Dr. Sidney Ebanks, where care meets compassion, because every patient deserves a dedicated doctor who cares. Call Dr. Ebanks at Grand Harbor Medical today at 949-4309.
Hello and welcome to For the Health of It. Today I'll be interviewing Dr. ELISSA Gross and SUTTON Burke from Infinite Mind Care, and we are going to be talking about ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, or KAP, for PTSD for short. Tonight we'll be exploring treatment that generates growing interest in mental health field. Ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. We will discuss it, what is it, who it may help, what the treatment process looks like, and some of the myths and misconceptions surrounding it. Joining me again are Dr. ELISSA Gross and SUTTON Burke. Both of them are from Infinite Mind Care. Ms. Burke is the founder and owner of Infinite Mind Care. Thank you both for being here and helping us better understand this emerging approach to mental health care. Let's get started.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
So, we've heard a lot about PTSD in relation to veterans, but trauma can affect anyone. What exactly is PTSD and what kind of experience can lead to it?
I'm really grateful we're talking about this because I think over the past 2 decades we have a different understanding, a more evolved understanding of PTSD, and there's still a lot of people who don't know or understand that that's what they're suffering from. But PTSD is what happens when a traumatic, terrifying, or overwhelming experience doesn't become part of the past. Even though the event is over, the brain and the nervous system continue responding as though the danger is still happening. And so we can't just define trauma by the event itself. It's defined by how our nervous system experiences it in the present. So military combat is the most common example that we talk about, but childhood abuse and neglect, domestic violence, sexual assault, accidents, natural disasters, medical trauma, and sudden loss all can lead to PTSD as well.
Thank you for that. And from my understanding of PTSD, we keep processing through those lenses, and whatever age emotionally we were at, that's kind of the age we're at for a while. Is that true, or?
Well, it brings the past into the present. So it can be about, reliving something or a time when we were younger, or it can be about, we can think of it as it's not just remembering something painful, it's reliving it. So yes, if there were aspects that are related to a certain time period, it can feel like reliving or going back to that time period.
Okay. Many people live with trauma without realizing it. What are some of the common signs and symptoms that might suggest someone has PTSD?
So trauma is the body having learned that the world isn't safe. So common symptoms include nightmares, flashbacks, feeling constantly on guard, avoiding reminders, but also emotional numbness, irritability, volatility. And people often experience difficulty trusting others, difficulty trusting themselves and their own choices, and feeling disconnected from themselves. Okay. So it's a broad range, which makes it sometimes hard for people to notice themselves, but also hard to define in certain ways. So it really takes being with people and understanding what they've been experiencing and putting that into context for us to really get like a determination.
Right. So why can trauma be so difficult to treat with traditional talk therapy alone?
I think what's important when we talk about trauma and PTSD is that someone could be experiencing those symptoms but not necessarily have a diagnosis of PTSD. And not everyone who has experienced a traumatic event is going to have those symptoms. And I think a lot of people, they experience some kind of feeling when we think about a diagnosis and when we think about those words, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and they don't want to be labeled as such. And that could prevent someone from seeking support. One, they might think what they're experiencing is totally normal, and they have to live with that. That might prevent them from seeking some support. But two, it's to know that you might not have been diagnosed with PTSD, but you're experiencing these symptoms and we can help you work through them. And so we'll talk about the treatment, especially CAP and what ELISSA offers in her sessions, but it's not to get stuck on the diagnosis, to know that diagnosis, and we can use that as a framework to support you and to understand yourself a little bit better.
And also, people might not think that their trauma warrants a PTSD diagnosis, but everybody's nervous system is different and everyone relates to what they've experienced differently. So, as to your question about talk therapy, trauma isn't just stored as words. In fact, it's often not stored as words. It's stored in emotions, body sensations, survival responses, and the nervous system. So you can't always consciously think your way out of something that your body and your system and your unconscious is still experiencing. So that's why we need other tools to help the entire system, because we can't just talk our way out of it.
And I want people to understand that, when we talk the nervous system, when they go into a room, are they assessing? Okay, are you assessing the risk? You might not realize it, but you sit a certain way. You sit facing the door. Your back is not to the door. You want to, you feel the vibe. You go out on a date with a gentleman or a lady, and you can feel right away, either your hair pricks up or not. You are scanning, you're risk assessing quite a bit. And then in office environments, when you are given constructive criticism, how are you taking that? So I've been through major trauma in my life, and it took me a while to understand and settle my nervous system. Yeah. I just had surgery the other day, and I went through a full episode of PTSD.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't even say it.
Exactly. No, exactly. You're so right. And those are the things that are often unconscious.
Yeah.
You know, the survival responses, or the way the hypervigilance, the way we're reacting to what's around us. It might seem normal to us.
It is normal to us.
And it has had to become normal to us because of what we've experienced.
Right.
But it also takes a toll on our overall systems, on our health, on our well-being, on our relationships, and our relationship to ourselves, of not feeling like we can trust ourselves, trust the world around us, trust each other. So it's a big process, and as you're saying, we can re-experience it at times that might not even be directly connected to what we've experienced in the first place. But if the system feels like we are under threat, then it's going to respond, and we need to be able to recognize that and be able to move through it and support ourselves with it.
Yeah, and talk therapy did give me the tools, and other therapists like
EMDR.
Yes. So now what we're going to be talking about is a different type of another tool in the toolkit, if you will. What is ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, and how is it different from simple taking, ketamine as a medication?
Yeah. So trauma traps us. It can trap us inside our experiences, and ketamine is a medicine, and ketamine-assisted psychotherapy is the treatment that helps us to create some space between us and our thoughts, emotions, and memories. So instead of being overwhelmed by the memory, when using the psychedelic, people often find themselves observing it with greater curiosity, compassion, and perspective. So we can think of it as the medicine helps us open a door, but therapy helps people walk through that door. And I'm going to turn it to you to talk about sort of the process that we have here.
Certainly. It kind of, I love what Elissa's saying is it helps create space between yourself and the experience and the feeling that you're experiencing. So often when we've experienced trauma, when someone has a diagnosis of PTSD or symptoms of PTSD, it feels like it is them. That experience is right at the forefront of my everyday being, my mind. It feels like it's me. And so when we do therapy with the medicine, what it allows is to have that separation. Ketamine is a dissociative medicine. And to be clear, I think we have a lot of misconceptions when we think of ketamine. A lot of people that talk to us about our program, the first thing that they remember is, ketamine being used as an illicit substance. Ketamine is a medicine that is used in anesthesia, and at its highest point, it puts people to sleep. Right underneath putting people to sleep in anesthesia, it is used for pain management. It has been used for decades on battlefields at war. It's an immediate response and relief to someone who has been injured to separate themselves from that pain and still allow them to function a bit before going to sleep, where then they, were going to be useless at that point.
Right.
So this is a medicine used in hospitals here in Cayman. And when it's given, the idea is to just disassociate a bit from mind and body, and not too much, but just enough that when we're doing therapy, you can create that space to see, I am not that experience. I'm not that thing that happened in the past to me. And it allows you to separate from that memory, to really be grounded in who you are, separate from your feelings and separate from that experience, which is quite profound just in itself. But then when you're there, now, like ELISSA said, you can start getting very curious with that experience, and it allows you to experience it in a completely other way that, I mean, it is just the most
kind of transcends.
And I get lost for words when I speak about it, because it is so transformational, and it can be so helpful for people who have had no relief from these symptoms. So in our process, this is not a medicine for everyone.
Yes.
Just as at the hospital, they wouldn't give every medicine for anesthesia to everyone. So there is a rule out process. And so for people who are interested in coming to work with us, they fill out a questionnaire so we can look through some of those rule outs before we even have a conversation. And so often past diagnoses or medical, psychiatric or medical diagnoses, are going to be the rule out for anybody who's going to be able to go into this treatment. And so they fill that out, and then we have a conversation. So if they are, once I look at the form and I see where they're at, we're going to have a conversation to go through, some of their past experiences, some of their past treatments, what has worked and what hasn't worked. What we have noted is that the people who are most who find the most relief and the best results with this treatment are people who have had some therapy before, people who have some tools, even if the tools have not worked for them in the past. And if I speak for myself, who have gone through this treatment and other treatments that I'm really interested in bringing to Infinite Mind Care, it made all of those therapies that I've done in the past come alive.
Right.
And maybe certain things that never worked for me before now all of a sudden made sense. And I was like, oh, wow, this is embodied inside of me now. So it definitely works good for people who have had lots of treatment before. And for those who haven't, people who are very interested in doing the work to learn new tools and to actually practice them. We're, people who were really not are looking for, yes, this could be the answer when you've tried everything and nothing has worked, but it's knowing that there's the medicine and there's the practice that's going to come with it and the taking action. Also people who have a sense and an openness to connecting to something greater than themselves and some kind of spirituality practice. We see that it really works well for people who have that belief and or who open to a spiritual experience. Okay. And from after there, they meet with ELISSA. They have a pre-assessment, an assessment session to go through what they really want to get out of the experience, manage any expectations, and then from there we send them on to Doctors Express to have a full medical workup, lab work, EKG, and all of the things before they start our process.
Okay. We hear about the term neuroplasticity a lot. What does it mean, and why is it so important to helping people recover from trauma?
So I like to use the metaphor of imagining skiing down the same mountain every day. So eventually those ski tracks become deep grooves. And trauma, depression, anxiety, OCD, addiction creates similar grooves in the brain. So neuroplasticity is the brain's remarkable ability to create new pathways instead of staying stuck in the old ones. Now, we can do this with talk therapy. We can do this with cognitive behavioral therapy. We can do this with EMDR, which is a somatic processing tool. But it can take a long time, and it can take a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of work and practice and continuously noticing when you're starting to go down that track and choosing a new one, which can be very difficult if those are really well worn. Ketamine creates synaptogenesis, which is the firing and creation of new synapses and therefore new neural pathways in the brain. And so it speeds up that process in the sense that with the therapy, we can really confront things and move in different directions and look at behaviors and patterns and past experiences in a completely new way, and also then continue to do that because of what's been created and made possible in the brain.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to in the earlier conversation. We get caught in these grooves, and we are kind of emotionally stuck in that trauma.
Exactly.
So this is why this sort of therapy, if talk therapy or EMDR is not helping, that's why some people who experience deep trauma, and it doesn't, I don't know, we all experience trauma differently, right?
Exactly.
Anyway.
And also deep depression, which keeps us trapped in, we know in the lower parts of our brain.
Yeah.
And so being able to come out of that and see things differently. And, you can tell a depressed person, well, go for a walk, talk to someone, but those things feel very, very difficult.
Especially when depressed.
Exactly. It feels inaccessible, and it is, because you're trapped in a very, in the lower and darker parts of the brain. And so this lights us up and creates those new neural pathways so that those things don't feel as impossible. They feel possible now. And with that, a lot can happen, but you have to have that feeling of possibility, which is that feeling of openness, which we're literally giving people the opportunity to have in their brain. Antidepressants work on the serotonin systems, which is great and hopefully helps people and is a very effective treatment for many people. They also take 4 to 6 weeks to work for people, and in the meantime, people are really suffering. We have a lot of suicidality and a lot of people who are in a very desperate place. And so to lift out of that, be able to see things differently, be able to implement things differently, can be a life or death intervention.
So what happens during a typical ketamine-assisted program session, and what can patients expect before, during, and after the treatment?
So there is no typical session, unfortunately. I mean, it's not only unique from individual to individual, but it's unique from each individual from week to week. But the protocol for everybody is the same. We really insist, and it's mandatory, that people participate in what we call preparation sessions, which are talk therapy, but they're really about preparing for the medicine, opening up what people have been dealing with, and being ready to go into this experience fully prepared, because we know that the mindset that people go in with and the setting that we're doing the therapy in really makes a difference for the experience. Then we do medicine sessions, which is usually a co-created experience. Some people are very active and we're talking and working through things the whole time. Some people, they have headphones and music and they're having an experience that then we process. But the most essential part is integration, which is after the medicine. Because the medicine plants a seed, but integration is how we help it grow. And so we're doing meaning-making work. We're changing habits. We're addressing relationships. We're building self-compassion, and we're applying insights.
So you're taking some of those grooves and removing them, like, filling the gaps.
And working with new ones and
Right.
really making them feel real, because they are real.
Right.
I think that's a really important question is, you're working with those new grooves. So our brain, those old grooves, is our brain just on a loop. It just wants to, wants to repeat itself. That's just how the brain works. It's going to go into those automatic thoughts that we had, those automatic behaviors, those automatic reactions. And when you've had the ketamine therapy, it's giving your brain that opportunity to ski down that other path, to create a different groove. But it's integration that is going to help you going down that new path over and over again. That's how we're going to create that habit. Because if you don't do integration, which we get tons of calls for people who just want to come in and do the medicine.
Right.
Okay, I'm just going to do the medicine session. I have my own therapist overseas, or I've been in a therapy somewhere else, and I don't want to do integration with you. But the integration is the key, because we need to be able to take that new groove and now make that the habit. And with the medicine in your system and the neuroplasticity that we're talking about and the window that we have of building that neuroplasticity, it's going to be easier to build as a habit in the beginning and for over the course of the weeks that we're doing this. But it's that practice and it's that integration that's going to make that the new groove versus, a little bit of the one time that you're going down and then the snow covers it over again, if that makes sense. If you don't do integration, that groove just becomes the distant memory.
People might talk to you about, oh man, I don't want to do drugs. This is drugs. Okay, what's the answer to that?
So it's a very understandable concern.
Right.
And I'll say very openly that there's a big difference between recreational drug use and carefully monitored medical treatment delivered with psychotherapy. So there's different intention, there's different setting, there's different dose, there's medical supervision, and there's therapeutic goals and therapeutic intervention. So it's a completely different experience, and we have decades now of research that is extremely encouraging, especially for treatment-resistant depression and PTSD. So it's a tool that can help people engage in deep therapeutic work.
In Cayman, we're such a conservative society, and I totally get it that we don't want to use we don't want to use drugs. And if you had diabetes, you would take a medicine, right? If you had a heart disease, if you have high blood pressure, you're going to take something that the doctor prescribes you. And that's what this is. We are not, and I think this is very, very important, we are not sending anybody home with ketamine to do at home. Although people do get sent home, and they can be sent home with it, and they do. I advise against it. It's similar to getting prescribed a benzo, right? People are sent home with benzos, they abuse them. Right. Ketamine can be abused as well. And we are doing everything in our power, and our doctors are of the same philosophy that we want to prevent addiction. Ketamine actually does help people in recovery of addiction. Lots of research to support it for alcohol and other substances on how much it can help. But it is, we are using a prescription that a doctor is administering in a safe setting to do therapy. So it's completely different. And I hear that resistance, but what will we do to take care of ourselves? What are we, what is that's getting in the way of you wanting to go to that next level, and how you take care of yourself and the possibilities for what your life can be? I think about all the people who are suffering and all the people who we've lost. Nothing hurts me more than reading about suicide in Cayman. We are such a small society. It is my hope and dream that we never have. And what can we do to never have another suicide? And that is my daily mission of connecting people to the beauty of being alive and having hope that there is something else. And that's why we brought this treatment to Infinite Mind Care. And that's why we do what we do every single day, is because I want people to have hope that if you've tried everything, there is something else that has a lot of research behind it, and that could be helping you a lot faster than other things that you might have tried in the past.
Finally, for someone who's been living with trauma for years and feels like nothing has worked, what message of hope would you like to leave them with?
I'd say trauma can convince us that we'll always feel broken, afraid, or disconnected. But I've had the privilege of watching people rediscover joy, reconnect with loved ones, and begin living instead of simply surviving. So healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means that the past no longer gets to decide how you're living and how you're living today.
Okay. Sutton, would you, any last words from you?
I would love that. We were created by God to be able to feel all the ick and stick and nastiness inside. We were created by God to have all these feelings that we're feeling. And, unfortunately, some of us have experienced things that we wouldn't wish upon our worst enemy. And I don't know if God had that in his, in the plan of what was possible, of how people could be towards each other and what could happen. And we were created to be able to handle it all. And sometimes we feel like we can't do it on our own, that it's not possible. It feels too horrible. And I think my message of hope is that we're here to help support you, that there is a possibility, there is another way, that you are capable to feel this and to get out on the other side. And there is another side of it. There is joy in the chaos. And with this treatment, we do believe that there is something else and you could feel another way.
It's another screwdriver or hammer that fits that you need for your mental health. If it's suitable for you, it doesn't sound like I can just roll up there in my car and say, hey, give me some ketamine.
We're very careful.
Right. You go through an assessment, then you go through another assessment, and then you go to the doctor to make sure that...
There's multiple levels.
Right.
Sure.
It is not a medicine for everybody.
No.
Not everyone is going to be accepted into the program. And with that, we can give you recommendations for something else.
Right.
I have 100% hope, faith, and belief that if this is not for you, we will find you something else that could be for you. There is never, we've never tried it all.
Right.
What's interesting, though, is I've had multiple clients who are coming in from the depths of darkness, leave saying, I wish everybody could experience this. Because it's connected them to themselves, it's connected them back to life in a way that they didn't think was possible, and that they now want everybody to feel the possibility of. It's not for everybody, but reconnecting to life is what everybody deserves.
Yeah, and I want to encourage my listeners today to really think about something different. Cayman has some of the highest ACE scores. That's early adverse effects in our children. This means that if they've had it, more than likely, I don't mean to be rude, but their parents, this is a generational thing. So can you stop the curse? Get off the boat a little bit and try something new. We are not on this island or in this world to just merely survive. We are here, I think Sutton said it earlier, that we're here by God, and I think he wants us to thrive. He doesn't want us to live in pain. So go and get some mental health, whether it's talk therapy, some sort of therapy. Invest in yourself a bit. And thank you so much, Dr. Cross and Ms. Burke, for being on this show and letting our audience know about this, understand ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. To our listeners, we hope tonight's conversation has provided you with information, answered some questions, and perhaps encourage you to seek, for you or someone you love, support when it's needed.
Please reach out to us. You can go on infiniteMindCare.com, follow us on Facebook at Infinite Mind Care, Instagram at Infinite Mind Care. You can reach out to me directly at Sutton Burke Official on Instagram. If you go right on our website and you go to the services that we offer and you click on the CAT program, you can go there and fill out our questionnaire.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're here for you.
Thank you for joining me on For the Health of It. We are moving you to the life you want.
Running on empty? Feeling depleted? Health and wellness comes down to one essential factor: energy at the cellular level. Our body is designed to support, repair, recover, and heal, but it needs the right environment. At the Lightroom, our energy enhancement system is that right environment, a balanced bioenergetic support for your body's natural processes. Don't wait until your energy is depleted. Recharge and keep optimized. Start today. The Lightroom, advanced energy therapies that work. We're in Pasadora Place.
If you or your loved one is facing cancer, only Sylvester will stand firmly by your side at every step, from diagnosis through survivorship, providing you and your family peace of mind and assisting with everything you need before, during, and after your stay with us. Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is South Florida's only NCI-designated cancer center and specializes in treating the most complex cancer cases. Your first-class cancer care is just a flight away. Learn more at sylvester.org.
When I first started going to Healthcare Pharmacy, it was because it was convenient. But over the years, I continued to shop there because I trusted them. One day I was picking up my prescription, and the pharmacist noticed an over-the-counter medication in my basket. She said, "I hope that's not yours. It will interact with your prescription." And I thought, wow, thank you. Trust is so important when it comes to your health. Healthcare Pharmacy with 2 locations, Grand Harbor and Governor Square, where they care about my health.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health. 2 locations, Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Refill and transfer prescriptions online. Call 947-8900 or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky.
The Light Room, your holistic sanctuary for physical and mental restoration, repair, and rejuvenation. The power that made the body heals the body. 38 Pasadora Place, Georgetown. Find us online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL.
UHealth, University of Miami Health System, world-class healthcare in the heart of Miami.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant.